Hello, this is Carmen. Welcome once again to Beauty Beneath the Surface. I want to start off by being honest. I want to be honest with you all today. I have been very quiet because I have been in a position of being more observant and actually trying to just absorb some of the things that I know I've been or have experienced. So sometimes when you're taking things in, it's not really the time to be talking. It's time to actually take things in. I've had a chance to really take some time and think about something. I did a video, maybe a couple videos back, and really it was just a rant. It was a rant, and I was talking about in one of the videos, I was talking about how the church people will be the first people to run you out of the church. And actually, I don't take that back. I stand on that. But there were some things that I did not say, and I wanted to give an apology to some pastors, because there are some pastors that have given of themselves, given of their time, given of their spirits. They have comforted people when they have sick or lost loved ones. They have counseled people in marriages. They have given of themselves, and they don't necessarily deserve that type of title. There are some men and women of God that actually really care about people, really care about strengthening people and helping people to come up to where they should be. There's a lot to deal with when you are dealing in the spiritual realm. So I wanted to just kind of, touch on that real quick. There are some things that I have been observing. Most of the time we can only talk from our observation point, right? And as humans, it is very critical that we not just be influenced by what we see, the outward appearance, okay? There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on spiritually. So I'm talking to some people. I'm gonna kind of be talking some strong meat today. I pray that this message will meet the people that it is supposed to. Because sometimes you need to be able to know how to navigate some of the gifts that you all have and your spiritual walk, okay? And there is an energy and there is a spirit that is becoming more prevalent. It has always been. There's nothing new under the sun. But what I want to deal with there's a lust for power. There has been a lust for spiritual power. And there are some people that have actually given heed to the seducing spirits. There are some people out there that have had the nerve to challenge God. And when I say challenge God, I mean they were challenging God by challenging you. In this spirit, there has been some common things that I have observed. I have noticed that there is a masculine spirit that is very feminine. And when I say feminine, what I mean is as far as being creative. Just like if you were an artist and a person would create a hysteria. This particular drama-filled male that has a feminine energy, they are more creative actually than a woman. And it's like I noticed that it will link up with a feminine spirit. These feminine spirits, when they come to try to take things that from you that are of God, they are very masculine. And I noticed this in a few different instances. And they are so, a man knows how to create. He knows how to go out. He knows how to get it. He knows how to bring it home. Well, a feminine spirit will team up with the masculine spirit, and they will see and target the people of God, the children of God. And they will formulate a plan to extract that which God has given you. Now, you and I both know. Just think about what that sounds like, okay? But there is a vampiric spirit that wants to take that which is God. Now, I don't know, but these people somehow thought, and they thought that they were going to get away with it. They thought that they were going to get away with taking that which God placed inside of you, okay? And if you want to know what, first of all, if you've gone through it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But they literally thought that they would gather themselves together, and they thought that they were stronger than God, and they thought that they would put together like a hate train, okay? They put together a hate train with people that were in a similar vibration as them, and they thought what they would do with malicious intent, that they were gonna sacrifice that which God gave you, and they were going to sacrifice you, and they were going to take your gift, and they were going to strengthen themselves. And with this mindset, they thought it was a brilliant plan, because after all, you're so full of love and light that you wouldn't notice in the spirit realm actually what was going on. So now what this spirit did is, let's say that they used a male. The house of cards. Many of us are familiar with the term the house of cards. What the house of cards represents is, what it does is it takes one card and it positions it, it stacks it against another card. So it stacks and it just keeps building, and it just keeps building, it keeps building. But the only thing about the house of cards is it is on an unstable foundation, and it will absolutely fall because the foundation was never strong. But as these people are gathering, all these people, and they are gathering this mob, they get to a fever pitch because they believe themselves to be higher than God. And what happens? We know what happens. It falls. Now, in the meantime, the goal of your adversary or adversaries was to bring you shame, humiliation, and dishonor. What the shame was supposed to do, shame was supposed to knock you down a peg or two. You know, they saw your head lifted up. Why was your head lifted up? Your head was lifted up because you have spent time with God. You have worked through a lot of your own issues, and God has been the lifter of your head. So they wanted to knock you down a peg or two. You know, you were thinking too high of yourself. So that's what the shame was supposed to do. The humiliation, what that was supposed to do is that was supposed to make you shut down all your activities. You know, the things that you were doing to move you forward. You know, they, instead of focusing, of course, on themselves, they focused on your forward movement. Not even obtaining a goal. The thought that you could obtain a goal and that you would and you will obtain the goal before them, That sent them into narcissistic rages. So they wanted to bring you humiliation to shut down your forward movement. Now, the dishonor, where does that come in? What the dishonor was supposed to do is they didn't like the way other people saw you. They didn't like the way that other people respected you. And they didn't want people to perceive you in your true nature. So, they wanted to bring some distortions, baby. And, I have a saying. When some people, when they are acting nice, they are acting nice. They did not want to believe that your kindness and your love for people or the things of God, they didn't want to believe that was real. Because what they have done is, they know that they can't come into situations in people's lives, snarling and brawling with those things inside of them. So they have seen and watched you try to mock your behavior and act nice. That's so people will, be disarmed. So they didn't want to see you as being genuine. Now, we're talking about spiritual warfare. Some people have weight in the spirit, okay? Some people are highly ranked in the spirit. What do I mean by this? First of all, this wasn't your first rodeo. And so it's like when God has invested inside of you and placed a lot of inside of you, you are constantly in training, right? Also, when people are jealous of you, because remember, love is stronger than death, but envy is crueler than the grave. When people are envious of you, God whispered this to me. It is not hard for them to find things to be mad at you about, right? So, when they had this spell work done, when they paid for it, and when they attempted to stay up all night, for weeks and months on end, what they were attempting to do is they were attempting to sacrifice you. Now, what do I mean? So the word sacrifice, it may not be verbatim, but I remember it as being a sacrifice is to take one thing of value and give it up for the belief to receive something of higher value, right? So now I'm going to use an example about family. Let's just say it's family. And in the instance of family, some of them, they wanted to destiny swap. They figured if they could knock you out, they figured, hey, and if you think that they didn't even do any rounds of death rituals, you are sadly mistaken. Not because that they affected you any type of way, but when you are a child of God, when you are crowned by the Most High God, He's going to let you know a person can be in another country. If you can know what a person is doing in a whole nother country, what more else do you have to ask? So God is always going to warn you of the adversary's attempts. Okay, I said attempts, right? So in the destiny swap, I think I went over that last time. It's like, okay, well, this person, they have the gift of sight, they have whatever it is that they see that you have, that you have. I won't go through all the gifts or whatever. They figure, okay, see what some people mistake for strength. Some people figure if they talk loud and carry a big stick. Remember, we were talking about that feminine with the masculine energy, or even a masculine can operate, like that. Talk loud, carry a big stick, be seen, be heard, that is strength. That is not necessarily strength. There's a time to talk and there's a time to be quiet. So they figured that they were going to knock your crown off your head. Take the cup of love that you have for them, drink out of the cup of love, spit it in your face and hit you over the head with it, and take your gift. Just real, barbaric. They were very heathenistic. Now, if it's on the job, these things can only happen with a weak leader. I didn't say a supervisor. I didn't say supervisor sabotage. I said a weak leader. When they know that someone is being mistreated and they set up and they align themselves because they don't have the heart to go up against this leader. We have read too many times in the Bible about Haman. And I'm going to tell you I'm telling you, I used to be about 7 or 8, and this would piss me off every time I would watch how Pilate, knew that Jesus was, that he was innocent. But because he liked the roar of the crowd and because he didn't want to lose his position, he allowed this sacrifice to happen and he sat back. But see, anything that God does, anything that God allows, he's always going to get the greater return because God himself will always outsmart the wicked. This is an irrefutable law. And also, I want you to know this, anything that you have suffered when you have been upright and you haven't done anything and you have been innocent and weak and jealous and insecure people and leaders they don't want real people. They need yes men and they need underlings because they surround themselves with underlings. There is no type of way that a light person is going to be able to hang out with a pack of dark people unless they are dark themselves. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, I want you to know in closing that God has invested too much time, too much energy, too much love. You have things to do, but if you don't, and because we're children of God, there are some lessons, and I will even say this for myself, that have to be on repeat, because if you don't heed the lessons that God is trying to give you, you may run into a brick wall. Or you'll keep running into the same brick wall. There are people like us that love people, that are kind and, don't mind helping people. And, you can't sacrifice enough for people that just want to use you. I had to learn through the years that there are some people that I thought that I had relationships with. No, you were just, it was about what you could do. And if you didn't meet up to their status quo and do the things that they thought that you needed to do, you were not of value. And see, what people do is they'll take our compassion, they'll take our love of God and the love of people, and they will use that, against us. And I got 2 messages, and I guess God is like, no, you're going to get this lesson this time. But the thing about it is, after these people have done all this evil and they have received what we call backfire. It is not that anybody is, over any cauldron. We have sense enough, and I want to briefly touch this. God dealt, everybody's talking about, oh, my ancestors did this. My ancestors going to do that for me. Let me tell you something. And I'm telling you, when I would listen to this, it was, I don't know if anybody saw Boondocks, and they saw when Stink Meter had all these old people getting out the car fighting and everything like that. And I asked God, I was like, God, I want you to teach me the proper, I want to understand about ancestors. But what God began to deal with me about is about cleaning up the bloodline. See, the people some of the people, and we know that went on before us, they did not have the resolve. They did not have the relationship with God to be able to, clear out some of that karma. Because some of them, guess what? The good Lord had literally, some people that you wouldn't even think that are in heaven, they are in heaven, took them home. And guess what? Because of that bloodline, you still left to deal with the things that they did not themselves want to give up. People think that they can just do different things and then it's not going to come back on their bloodline. You can try to do everything right, and you are dealing with both sides of the family. So, so anyway, but it's like you don't dabble in things that are, I'm gonna tell you, people, oh, well, she knows this. Yes, I do know this. You better know your adversary. You better know what is a chaos spell. You better know when, certain magic. You better know. I'm going to show you all before I go that actually Michigan City High School they have a Church of Satan. Okay, now somebody has to tell me something, because I thought that there was a separation of church and state. But at any rate, so we're entering into a new time, and it's like, this is the time. This is not the time. The people that could easily try to do an industry sacrifice and sacrifice their moms and, things like that. That's because they had no real belief of God. That's because they have so little faith in themselves. And instead of, going in and doing the work on themselves, no, I'm going to take your stuff. So they thought that they was going to be able to guerrilla you in the spirit and offer you up to some type of deity, because these things happen. And see, when you don't know, if you don't know how the enemy, and I've said this before, if you don't know how the enemy is coming to you, you may end up annihilated, but it's like you have to know and pay attention and take heed. Take heed and understand the season and the times that we are in now. I want to touch briefly on the shame, the humiliation, and what else? What was that third one that they wanted you to receive? The shame, humiliation, and dishonor. That's right, dishonor. It was amazing to see and to witness. Just watch it. It's amazing when they feel like they are gaining momentum. I've even heard people talk about laughing, kikiing, breaking generational curses, when God told us to resist the devil, not assist the devil. There are people going against people in their own bloodline and thinking that somehow that they are going to come out ahead. And the shame and humiliation and dishonor, well, God has been dropping people on their heads in this season. And all that fury that they wanted you to receive, when you sit and you do exactly what God says, if God tells you to be still and do nothing, then that's exactly what he means. Like I said, it was amazing to see just, how excited they were. And it was like, just like, it's like, that it's like you saw when people thought that they were getting away with lies and everything. It's like they felt seen. They felt like they had dirtied you up and they had stained your reputation. And it's amazing to see people like they feel seen by trying to bury you. They feel seen instead of concentrating. But see what the enemy did to them? It's like, yeah, get them all, rev them up. Yeah, you should do this, you should do that, joining in. And in the meantime, while they were busy deceiving you, they got deceived. While they were busy betraying you, betrayal happened to them, left, right, and sideways, from the north, south, east, and the west. This is what they wanted for you. This is, if they want to know anything that's going to happen in the future, the fury, the momentum, the amount of money that they spent, the amount of time, the amount of hours that they stayed awake while you were sleeping, the innocent, the people of God, this is what's coming back to them. And, the end, well, it doesn't end. This is the thing. It doesn't end. God, just, stick with God, focus on God, anything happening to you that that you're innocent to, you put it before the throne room. You put it in your private time. I can't tell people, because like I said, I feel like I'm kind of unconventional, but I realize that if I don't just come forth, I will never do what it is that God would have for me to do and has commissioned me to do. I'm prepared to be misunderstood. And see, this is the thing that people, the war tactics that they have for you, when you're not codependent and you don't need the validation of humans because you have the ultimate validation from God himself, that really doesn't work. And, I mean, they feel like they're drowning. They're losing everything. And another thing, it's sad to see when God, will allow, because he reigns on the just and the unjust, to see how people will look and live. They need something to feel better than somebody else. They need to have more money, have a bigger house, have a bigger car. It's like, I mean, time and chance happened to us all. And, it was like they were so jealous that they had to believe that somebody else was jealous of them too. But the happiness that you have for them, you can't fake that kind of happiness. But God had to enlighten you because you had a warm heart for them and you didn't look at them that way. You looked at them in high honor. Like I said, that happened to me as well. But, just know that you're in a good place. You're actually in a great place. And, the rest will be continued. But it's like, will you have all hope? Oh, let me tell you this. It's amazing how these people, they do all this debauchery and, plan and plot and round table discussions, doing evil. They lay low after they start getting that spiritual beat down and getting spiritually dropped on their heads by God. And then they want to come back. Say a person does, say they've been, up all night doing witchcraft. Now they're starting to receive the effects of what they put out. Not that anybody else is doing anything. That's that's just the road that the children of God just ain't, oh, well, let me go to somebody. Baby, I'm going to go to somebody. I'm going to go to the Most High, right? And then they want to dress themselves in white. And all of a sudden they want to talk about God. They want to talk about God and they won't even, crack whatever religious text. Now they had the strength and energy to do evil, but they didn't have the same strength and the same fervor. And it's, and see, the thing about it is when God does something, it's very, it's done well and it's done thorough, so, God doesn't need any help. He, what I'm saying? He, just do what you're supposed to do. Learn, that's our thing, is to learn what we're supposed to learn and move forward. We will have our forward movement and our experience and the movement, but it's only going to be the way that God has it to be, because like I said, he's very thorough, and especially with his children. And guess what? It's time for me to go, but I want to tell you all, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, whichever is befitting. Take care, and congratulations once again. Bye-bye.